Hey folks, welcome to a podcast about Catholic things. This is Eric, the ambassador of common sense, and I'm here with
Dan, the ambassador of nonsense. Welcome everyone.
My volume. I got a new microphone for Christmas, so it's. I got to get used to this volume. I'm going to turn it down a little bit. Let's see. So, big surprise today. Trump declared, was it December 30th?
No, it was actually yesterday, I thought.
The 29th.
Because yesterday...
Okay. Trump declared the 29th of December a national, I don't know what you would call it, a day of observance for St. Thomas Becket.
Right. Which the 29th is his optional feast day for Catholics.
Okay.
Which is why he chose that day.
That is very cool. The fact that...
It's really cool, isn't it?
President, who's not Catholic, mind you, would even bring it up. But actually pronounce that, churches and schools, when appropriate, should consider the day and give some reverence to it. That's really cool.
Yeah. We've not quite had anything like that.
Yeah. It's kind of mesmerizing the way this happens, and yet, well, we don't know what's going to happen yet. So
Trump, here's what needs to be said. And I'll challenge any old stupid bishop or cardinal in the U.S. to demonstrate otherwise. Trump is consistently out-Catholicking the so-called Catholic Joe Biden.
Yeah. Hell, he's out-Catholicking bishops.
A lot of the bishops.
Half the bishops out there are embarrassed by Thomas Becket. But he was a martyr who stood against the government. That's what he's famous for. And I don't know. So you're right. We should do a podcast just on Thomas Becket someday.
We'll do a podcast sometime for him and sort of clarify a little bit of what went on. It was kind of it wasn't as formal and drawn out a thing as for example Joan of Arc's situation. It was more heated and so. And there was resistance. We should cover that sometime. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Meanwhile, look, we don't know what's going to happen. Everybody's scared to death that we're going to lose Trump, and I want to do one more podcast about Trump, and I want to address something that, look, I think he's loved by America, not just admired. I think there's a deep fraternal love for him, and it's unlike anything that we've had for any other president, I think. Maybe even Abraham Lincoln. Well, we love Abraham Lincoln now, but not quite in the same way. Now, because we were talking the other day, and I said that I love Trump, and you said I have a deep admiration for him, and I went back and deleted that because I thought, wow, that sounds corny. But
no, I don't think it needs to sound corny, though.
There's something there, and I wanted to talk about it because I did a little bit of research on it, and all I really found were what liberals have posted about it. And I thought, wow, they're doing such a disservice, not just to him, but to the people who admire him and the people who follow him. And
because all you'll find there is that they say that the Trump supporters only support him because he's, I don't know, racist,
this or that. Yeah,
whatever.
Well, there's a list of 14 things here. 14 reasons why we follow Trump. None of them quite tell why. Look, he goes on. I saw it happen in several different cases where he would go to, he would go to a hospital and visit there, and you see kind of hallway. This is stuff taken with a cell phone, not with the news cameras.
Okay. So this isn't choreographed.
Right. And this isn't showboating. And this is him visiting the people in a hospital. And this is going back. I remember seeing this and then other things like it, like 2 or 3 years ago. He's walking through the hospital and the staff are kind of lined up, I guess, like next to the rooms wherever they're working. And they're all saying, "We love you, Trump. We love you, Trump." one after another. The patients were coming out and saying, "We love you, Trump."
Right.
Nobody said that to Reagan or G.W. Bush.
Yeah, he inspires a sense of personal connection that's undeniable. That none of our other presidents have.
He well, now that finally in this past year they started chanting it at his rallies. "We love you. We love you."
Okay. Right.
And I've also seen clips of, when Trump visits with a person one-on-one, like maybe goes to a restaurant and stops to talk to people. They break down in tears. He connects to them in a way that no other president has. And I know, okay, look, let's say Trump called me tomorrow and said, "Eric, I know it looks like everything's over, and I'm going to ask you to do something, and it's probably not going to help the cause. It's not really going to help anyone, but I want you to storm such and such building with your gun, and you're probably going to get shot down. And this is last." I'd probably call my friends and say, "Well, guys, I guess I'm not going to see you tomorrow because
let's have a last round."
Yeah, because Trump asked me to do this, and I'm going to do it. But he inspires that kind of commitment from people, and so I'm looking online at why.
And what's weird is it's not an ideological type of commitment like a cult leader or somebody like that. It's not like that.
Right. Well, I've got 14 reasons here. They say we are so, and this, it irritated me to read this because I thought, have you not even looked into it? Have you not even asked anyone? The first one is practicality, because he gives the tax cuts, and so the way they have it labeled
never inspired anybody to love a president.
No, practicality trumps morality. I don't. That's just stupid.
Yeah, no, that's
They don't really explain why, but the brains.
That's not even worth. That's just moronic.
It is.
That's.
We've had tax breaks. We don't. We don't love people who cut taxes. We appreciate it. Maybe even admire them.
We should have our we should have our money, not you. But no, that's not love. That's.
And then there are a lot of insulting ones, like the brain's attention system is more strongly engaged by Trump. I think that's supposed to be like we have a short attention span. Fear factor, we're scared of the threat of the left. Well, that's true. We are. That's not why we love him.
Sense of that, but yeah.
Relative.
Although, given the behaviors, I would say there are a lot more people who are under the sway of the left, in a weirdly cultish sense, come to think of it, who seem strangely and unaccountably afraid of the right than vice versa.
And who seem violently opposed to the right. They feel like it has
the violence
to be
is out
fought.
of a
And we don't feel that way. I mean, we feel like it has to be conquered and defended against,
but we don't feel like it has to be violent.
We don't need to burn anything
down. Sort of right.
Which is one of the other reasons. Some men just want to watch the world burn.
There is that.
Who's burning the world right now? Some people want to dominate others. I don't know how Trump helps us dominate anyone. And then there's things like conspiracy theories, and of course the ultimate racism and bigotry. They missed it on every single point. But if we look back, I mean, if you wanted to look at a Trump supporter, I think you might look back to the Tea Party, maybe. But I don't know. Okay. Maybe even before that. You remember in the 80s when Rush Limbaugh got big? Mm-hmm. He had that same kind of massive support. Wasn't love, but he had this, like, just a huge, out of nowhere, it seemed.
It's like, springing up everywhere. People would refer to themselves proudly as ditto heads, stuff like that. Mm-hmm.
And it was mostly because we think a certain way, and we talk even a certain way. Back then, you could talk a certain way in public, and now you can't. But we we thought this way, and nobody on television or any media would
say
voice
anything
that for
like
us.
that, or give voice to it. That's right. That's right.
You-
I mean the people's the growth of popularity for Rush Limbaugh was almost like it was almost like you're like we were a bunch of people living in this dirty, filthy village set in the middle of a jungle somewhere, and then somebody came and in the middle of our village dug a deep well, and suddenly we had access to fresh water. That's what the Rush Limbaugh thing was like.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the Rush Limbaugh phenomenon.
Because every time you turned on the TV, no matter what it was, you hear yourself being insulted. And it's like, hey,
Yeah.
I'm not a racist.
Suddenly,
why are you calling me? And finally,
you turn to the radio 3 hours a day, and wow, I'm drinking fresh water instead of swamp water here now.
Yeah. Yeah, it was exactly like that. And I think we start off with that. Because while Rush Limbaugh was the media version of that, we hadn't really experienced it politically. I mean...
Right, yeah.
We had guys talking like that. We had guys coming out saying, I'm going to do this. I'm going to cut taxes. I'm pro-life. I'm pro-Christian. I'm with you guys. But once it came time
never quite brought it.
Yeah,
they were in.
They never did the things they said they were going to do.
Every performance was lackluster. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And on top of that, once they were in, they would distance themselves from us. It's like you campaigned to us.
Yeah,
you came to us and said vote for
base.
you.
Right.
Why are you pretending you don't want to be a part of us now? What's up with that? So Trump starts off by being that political guy, that breath of fresh air, that well with deep water that we can finally, hey, not only does he say the things we think, but now we can actually vote for him. Now it's more than just listening to him and getting wound up on the radio. Now we can cast a vote. And this is the first guy. At first, we just think, maybe he's going to do it. Maybe he'll really do it.
Yeah, a lot of people were skeptical that first time around, 2016.
Yeah.
They're like, well, is he just saying what he needs to say? I mean, gosh, look at his what he's saying now doesn't reflect a lifetime of behavior that we can look at and believe on its merits. So where is all this coming from? And so a lot of people...
Yeah. Hold on a second.
So a lot of people... Oh, okay. Talking about Trump, he was... you were saying that he was kind of like that...
Okay.
He was kind of like Rush Limbaugh, except now we actually get to vote for him. Rush Limbaugh never put himself out there for office or anything like that. And I was pointing out that there was even skepticism about that in 2016 because Trump was saying things that it's not like he had a lifetime of behaviors backing those up that we could believe in on those merits. So a lot of people were skeptical, and they said, well, he's saying the right things, and I obviously can't vote for Hillary Clinton, so I'm going to go ahead and vote for Trump. And then within, I think, even the first year, it was becoming increasingly evident not only that Trump intended everything that he said, but he actually seemed to be weirdly effective at getting it done, too.
Yeah, unlike any other politician has ever done, because politicians are famous for not getting anything done.
Mm-hmm.
And he's out there getting stuff done, and not only that, but he's convincing people who maybe leaned left to come back to our side. He's convincing people that there's nothing wrong with being conservative. We didn't call him conservative, but he's bringing people over instead of doing like George W. Bush did, saying he's going to reach across the aisle, which basically means give in to what the left wants.
I'm going to reach across in order to give them stuff they want. Right.
He's reaching across, grabbing people on the left and bringing them over to us.
Come on over. Yeah.
Here's the thing about especially the people who were kind of with him from the start. They are very patriotic people in that they love America as much as you could love a country.
Mm-hmm.
And on the other side of that, most of them see the country kind of disappearing because of the policies of the left and just because culturally you turn on the TV. Well, like we said, you go on, you hear the radio, you hear Rush Limbaugh, so that at least you can forget for a little while what they're doing in the mainstream media, the way they constantly assault the American way of doing things and the American attitude and the American greatness. It's as if all the stuff we've done just kind of happened by itself. We didn't have anything to do with it, and our country didn't have anything to do with it.
Right. Or shouldn't have been done in the first place.
Yeah, evil things.
I mean, it's like all the achievements that America and I mean, Europe had its place in history, but let's face it, in the 20th century, so many real achievements in the world were driven by America. Now, it's starting to diffuse a little more, and we're seeing a lot more coming from around the world as well, but so much that we have these days is American in origin.
Yeah.
And it's like that fact alone, it's like there's people who think none of those things should have happened. The world should not have these things that we have right now.
Right. And it's not just that we did it, but people sacrificed a lot to get it done. I mean, not just things like World War II where millions of people died, but we did a lot to fix the country during the Great Depression. A lot of things that shouldn't have been done because the government was misleading people, but still, people made huge sacrifices, and people worked hard to overcome that. And so you look at American history, and you see a lot of greatness, and a lot of people see it that way. And for a long time now, we've been made fun of and ridiculed, and it's almost like we became irrelevant. And as we watch what we always thought of as American ingenuity and American the American attitude of, yeah, I can do it. Don't tell me I can't do it because I will do it. It was just dying. And
yeah,
Trump was the guy who made it clear, he made it clear to the rest of the world, hey, we're not dying. We're going to come back, and we're going to get back to how we used to do things.
Yeah, he hinted at a resurrection of that spirit.
Yeah, and so,
which seems to be uniquely American. I mean, the rest of the world these days, and a lot of Americans these days, refer to it derisively as, I don't know, American cowboyism.
Yeah,
this spirit of, yes, we can get it done, and we're going to get it done, even if you tell us it can't be done. If it's something that is worth doing, we'll figure out how to do it.
And we'll probably be rude and crude while we're doing it, but we'll still get it done.
But it'll be done, yeah. And yeah.
Well, that again, Trump's crudeness. They call it crudeness. I just call it boldness.
Yeah.
It just touched people in a way that we hadn't been touched in such a long time. That it just added to this sense that not only is he saving what we love, but he's showing the rest of the world how worthy it is to be saved.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that there's something here worth saving.
You know, I think there's another part of it that I don't know this for sure. I think it goes back to kind of a military love that men would have for a good general.
Oh, right. And even their immediate superiors, if he was a really good one.
I think of General because I specifically think about a story about General Lee during the Wilderness Wilderness. I don't even know what you call this. The Wilderness Campaign. This is 1864, and there was a bunch of Texans ready to fight under another general, General Gregg, I think it was. And General Lee tells Gregg, get your men, get your Texas brigade ready. Let them know that I'm going to be watching them throughout this battle. Because apparently they had come up to a battle line and they just couldn't move forward and they couldn't go back. They couldn't move. And they had been there for a while. So he says, I'm going to send the Texans in, and all these soldiers are running through the battlefield, and there's General Lee like right out in the middle of them. And he takes his hat off, and he says, Texans always could move them. And one of the, I guess he was just a private, turns to his comrade and says, I would charge hell itself for that man. And he said it through tears, you know. And I think maybe there's a sense of that. There's a guy who's willing to take bullets for us.
Lord knows Trump has been doing that.
Yeah, he's
figuratively, but
nonstop. Yeah. He's willing to fight for us, and he's willing to let us fight. And we haven't had that in a long time. I mean,
and it's
Reagan,
for a commitment
maybe,
to the good of America and American citizens. So many people don't get that he's taking all of this abuse not to feed some kind of egomaniacal trip that he's on, but because he sees it as good and necessary for American citizens.
Yeah. I think
unlike Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, who I guarantee is on this for an egomaniacal trip.
Definitely. And I don't think the left can see this because they hear him boast, and I think they take that as him being narcissistic. Which I don't know, maybe he is narcissistic, but he still loves America. And he still loves American citizens, not just America, but the people who live in America.
Yeah, not America as an idea, but America as a people.
He has this deep respect and love for the citizens. I don't think... it might be one of those things, either you see it or you don't. Either you get it or you don't. And maybe there are some people who really can't see it because of the way he jokes around.
Maybe that's it. Once we get through our 14 misreasons why people think Trump is so loved, I don't know. We could come up with some reasons why the left is so incapable of seeing what's good for America. I mean, I guess there's a certain section of the left that we have to just slice off and dismiss because they don't want to see what's good for America. They want America to be under the thumb of China or something like that. There's leftists that hate America. Some of them are politicians and senators and so forth. We don't need to worry about those, but I think there are leftists who somehow are so mixed up that they believe that they love America and yet for some reason are just incapable of seeing that Trump is what's best for America. Why are they so incapable of seeing that? That's something worth talking about.
That is a discussion because I really don't understand that. I mean, I was in love with Trump from almost the start. Certainly after his first year as president. And I never saw any, and like I said, he boasts about things, but he does it with a sense of humor. He's
definitely got a sense of humor.
He knows he's being funny when he says, yeah, that was a perfect phone call, or my Trump Towers is the perfect tower. Everything that he has is perfect and the best there ever is. And it's not like, I have great respect for women. He would say, I have more respect for women than anyone. It's always he's the pinnacle of everything.
The superlative.
And they just don't see the humor in that. I think it's hilarious.
I love the one where there was some, I don't know, who's the always angry girl that keeps talking about the environment, Greta something or other.
Oh, the teenager.
Yeah. And Trump put that post. Seems like a very nice girl with a bright future, or very happy girl with a bright future. But the other thing is, even when he's not being deliberately humorous like that, he does things. He knows what he's doing is triggering the extreme leftists.
Yeah.
And then it's like, everybody's head explodes, and then he just kind of gets to enjoy it.
The thing is, okay, let's say people did not explode when they hear these things. I still think he would say them.
Oh, right.
I think it's his form of humor, and
it's just a kind of yeah.
Now that he knows it makes everybody so angry, he does enjoy it. But
he's even more, yeah. But yeah, it's kind of like a reverse self-deprecation, like you know how people are always self-deprecating,
yeah.
And it's like he says things in the superlative, expecting you to know that he's being humorous, and that's the self-deprecation.
I've heard people describe him who knew him before he ever even thought about politics. And that's how they describe him. They say he was always that way. Mm-hmm. He was always the best. I heard an interview with him saying why he was divorcing, I think, his first wife. And what did he say? Something like, I shouldn't have to have sex with a girl who's had a baby. Can you imagine anyone
so awful,
saying
but yeah,
that?
That's
it's so bad, but you got.
But he knows it's bad, he knows it's ridiculous.
But he's a billionaire, and he's allowed to say things like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. Some people can't look at that and see humor, and it just angers them, and I feel sorry for those people.
Yeah.
There's one more part that I think it affects all of us, but I think it affects certain people certain ways. And I don't know how to describe it and make it without, I don't want anyone to think, well, I'm better than you because I understand this, or I get this, or I'm of this class. Right. But, okay, let's say your youngest son, I don't know, he went downtown and he had some drinks and he got in a little bit of a brawl and he gets arrested. And they're holding him at the cell. Bail is set at $2,000. What would you do?
Okay,
just you again, personally. Your youngest son. Your youngest son went downtown and he had a little bit too much to drink and he got in a fight and they're holding him there. And bail is $2,000. What would you do?
I'd probably let him sit until the morning and then go post it.
Okay. Would you get a lawyer?
It depends on not right away. I mean,
okay.
Not just. I don't know. Not because bail's already been set. There's no bail hearing.
Maybe I shouldn't have asked such a personal question. I get the point that I kind of want to draw towards is the fact that there are certain people who come across problems like that, and there's a plan. If you got to bail them out, you bail them out. Maybe even if you don't have the money, you could borrow the money from somebody and bail them out. And then you got to hire a lawyer, and you got to go to court.
There's a process you expect. Okay, now we need a lawyer. First we need bail, then we need a lawyer. Then right.
For a huge number of people, that's not even in the realm of possibility.
A bank breaker. Yeah, it's for example, if it's a crime thing, you're going with a public defender.
Yeah, and we don't have money to bail anyone out, so you're going to be in there a few months while you wait for trial. Right. And I guess specifically for people who are in that class, there's just a sense of not ever being heard, of not ever having a voice in anything. When they can't even defend themselves, or they, for another example, if I've got a business going and, well, I fix printers for a living, and if some guy decided he's going to sue me, because maybe I did something I messed up something, and he's going to sue me, the business is now gone. I don't really have enough money to defend it. There isn't the choice
all you can
of
do
being
is put yourself in front of the judge and make your own statement of why you did what you did and why you think it was the right thing to do at the time, and then
and now
you're at the mercy of the court.
Maybe go start another business,
maybe or something. Yeah,
get hired by Amazon. Who knows? But there's a sense of no longer having any say in our future, and I think a huge number of people feel that way. No matter what class you're in, we've been feeling that way more and more because our votes haven't mattered.
a growing sense that,
and I think it's more it's bigger to someone of a lower class. It gets worse and worse the lower you get. That sense of not really having any choices or having any say-so in what happens first in our country, then in our communities, and finally in our own personal lives. And I think Trump somehow gave people the feeling that, yes, I do finally have a choice. That what the little guy says still matters. Because Trump came to us for votes. And he wasn't, he didn't try to hide it. He didn't come to us under the radar, or he didn't grandstand. He came to us the way we would expect a person who really wanted our votes to come to us. And another example is in the pro-life community. He didn't hide his relationship with us. And he's not hiding his relationship with the Catholics now.
No.
And I think that might be one of the biggest things that have given people such strong loyalty to him.
And, I think one of the reasons that it translates into sort of a more of a fraternal love is that he's not just giving people a sense of, you're going to be able to have a little more certainty and control over, in your sphere, your life, your community, your country, because I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do, and then you send me to Washington, and then I'm going to control everything and fix everything and make everything play out the way that it needs to play out. It's not that kind of thing. That's exactly the kind of thing that the Democrats do. His is more of a sense of, okay, send me to Washington, and I'm going to get rid of all the stuff that's there that has been in the way of you having control of your life.
Right. Even to the point
and I think that's why people love him.
Even to the point of going to criminals and saying, we've got kind of an unfair situation here. I'm going to do what I can to change that. Mm-hmm. Where other politicians have promised to do that, and none of them have.
Yeah.
That's all I got. But I felt like it should be said.
Wait a minute, you said you had 14 things.
No, I said they had 14 things.
Well, I thought you were going to read all of them.
I'll read them all. It gets you mad.
Do they get worse?
No, they're just all the same. Like America's obsession with entertainment and celebrities. That's why we love Trump. That's why we're loyal to him, because we're obsessed with his celebrities.
We would not have the same thing for George Clooney or
celebrities.
Ronald Reagan didn't get elected president because he was an actor. He got elected president because he sounded real.
And Tom Hanks could never get elected president. I don't think...
Not ever. Nope.
Oprah Winfrey could. She probably had a better chance than Tom Hanks, but no, that's not it.
Nope, not even close.
The Dunning-Kruger.
All of these so-called excuses that people are making up in order to avoid the conclusion that there is a broad class of Americans who love America and who see in Trump hope for the America that they love. All of these attempts to get out of that are part of a thing. The best description that I've heard, I think it was coined by Scott Adams, the Dilbert creator, is Trump derangement syndrome.
Yeah.
And the way he explained it is that millions of people in the United States have been told before the election, before the 2016 election, that Trump was a white supremacist, racist, whatever. And therefore, of course, he's not going to get in. We're going to get our girl Hillary in, and then she's going to turn the United States into this wonderful socialist utopia where everybody's economy is controlled by the government, and everybody gets to eat for free, and they don't have to work, and so on and so forth. Whatever it is, I don't know. But then Trump actually got elected. So now people are in this sense of cognitive dissonance. They know Trump is a bad guy, and they used to know that the average American Joe in the street that you interact with at the grocery store and the pizza place and the gas station are not bad guys. And now suddenly they're trying to reconcile those two things and the first level of that Trump derangement syndrome was this sudden kind of a knee jerk. Well, gee, there must be a lot more racists among the average American than we ever thought. Yeah. And I think that has fueled it. It wasn't the source of, because these critical race theories and stuff and identity politics started before Trump ever came on the scene, but it has fueled this systemic racism and white privilege and critical race theory and all that kind of stuff. It's kind of brought it up into people's minds. Oh, well, that explains it. That everybody's really a racist at heart, even though they don't know it, and that's why they support Trump. And these other reasons you're coming up with are just as deranged and just as nonsensical.
Right.
But people cannot accept the obvious, because in order to do so, they would have to give up one of their cherished beliefs, which is Trump is a bad guy.
And they're doing all kinds of logical somersaults to
hold on to that. Yeah.
Believing this.
Right, convinced of that. Mm-hmm.
And that's another one. Humans often overestimate their political expertise.
Yeah.
That's I don't know.
That's
the audacity of that statement.
But that just, I never thought of it this way, but we referred to the almost cult-like behavior of the left in America today. And here's the thing. Normally a cult is a cult arranged around a personality. You've got a cult of personality that everybody becomes loyal to. They will hinge it on an ideology often in order to help bring people in. Here we have a situation where there is a cult on the left that is arranged around an anti-personality. The whole left cult today in 2020, 5 years ago this wasn't the case, but in 2020 today, the entire cult left is a cult of non-Trump. The whole thing is arranged around hatred of Trump. That's the cult.
And they keep digging themselves in further and further.
Exactly the way somebody in a cult will do.
Yeah.
Coming up with every excuse why this is, he is the savior. Oh, he is the devil is what this one is. It's an anti-cult, in a very bad way.
How's this one? A misguided sense of entitlement.
Huh?
Misguided.
Oh, you know what?
Sense
I get that. Let me explain where they come with that. So,
okay,
the left has a fascination with democracy, this concept of democracy, and what most ordinary people in America don't realize is that on the left, democracy has something of a little different meaning. Most people think that the word democracy just means you get to go vote for your rulers and your government officials and so on and so forth. That's not actually democracy. That's a democratic approach to selecting government leaders. But what we have in America is a constitutional republic, which means the government is an enforcer of certain basic natural rights of citizens, and beyond that doesn't get in the way of their lives. What a true democracy is that the majority gets to decide everything about everybody. So democracy, in the way that the left means it when they say Trump is a danger to democracy, and in the way that the left means it when they say, he's being anti-democratic, and in the way that they intend it to be lived is this: we will all get together and we will vote for the people who will go into Washington or into our various state capitals and enact the laws that control all of our lives according to a unified utopian vision. That's the democracy that they have in mind. And that's why when they hear somebody, no, I don't want you controlling my life according to your utopian vision, well, you just have a misguided sense of entitlement then. That's where that comes from.
I guess you're right. I never thought about it that way.
That's what that is.
They really do think that.
They really do.
Every little aspect needs to be controlled by someone else. by the majority, which
they can't
actually
imagine
isn't
living
the
a
majority,
life that
but...
is not constructed for them by somebody from on top. And I mean, and think about it. Who are the? I mean, okay, you've got the pawns in the streets, the people who are going and rioting and that kind of stuff. They're just pawns. They're being manipulated. Who are the people driving this? They are the super rich whose whole lives have been constructed for them from the time they were babies. It's the only world they know. They can't conceive of a different world.
Old rich white guys.
For the most part. It's old money. It's not that's the difference between old money and new money. Old money are people whose worlds were constructed for them, and they can't conceive of living any other way, so they think the whole world should work that way. New money, they had to get their money by working hard, the sweat of their brow, and that kind of stuff. They appreciate the value of self-reliance and self-determination and accountability and hard work and choosing your own path, and they want to support that.
Yeah. Huh.
Now, I think, ironically, Trump is actually a bit of an old money guy who seems to have much more of a new money ethic.
Yeah, look, Trump's an anomaly.
Which is strange.
He's not like anything we've ever had.
He is an enigma,
in
absolutely.
He just, because he is an old rich white guy, but he's different. Lack of exposure to dissimilar others. In other words, we're not around non-conservatives enough.
Well, that's rich coming from the left.
Yeah, because I don't...
Because they surround... who are the ones calling for safe spaces and campuses so I don't have to listen to opinions that might cause me to doubt some of my cherished beliefs?
We have like 2 or 3 media outlets.
Constantly.
Really, only...
It's like...
Only one now, really. Only one popular media
there's really
outlet.
One
AM radio.
With three different heads.
It.
Oh, okay. You're talking about a media outlet that's not beholden to...
Right. Like, Fox News is gone.
Okay.
And all the other media is on the left, and all the shows that they make are on the left.
Yeah, they all carry leftist sympathies.
We hear their dogma 24/7.
That's... And, I posted this on Twitter earlier in response to someone, but I read somewhere, and I'm paraphrasing. I don't remember the exact thing or the exact context. You tell me if this is true. Liberals tend... Because, I mean, you've had your various interactions with people that you can say whether this seems true for you and maybe true for some other people you know. What I read is that liberals, and I'm talking about rich white liberals, tend to what's the word? They give more support, and they're more comfortable. That's a good word. Liberals are more comfortable with black people as a class and talking about and dealing with them as a class of people in their minds than conservatives are, and talking about the needs of black people and so on. Conservatives don't like to go there and talk about that.
Right.
But when it comes to actual individual interactions and being in groups and among people, conservatives are way more comfortable being among blacks than liberals are.
The average one. Compared with the rich white liberal. Yeah,
right.
Definitely.
Well, I would say even the rich white conservative is probably more comfortable. New money conservative who had to build his business from the ground up is probably a lot more comfortable being around black people than an old money rich white liberal.
Yeah, you're definitely right there. And I mean...
So it's like...
I
and
hear...
then for that, oh, well, the reason you support Trump is because you haven't been around enough different kind of people.
Right.
It's like, what?
For example, I hear back when the George Floyd thing was going on, and this, I heard it from several people. There were people like us who said, "No, I don't believe that this racism exists. I don't think this guy was even a racist, and we
were even critical of the police,
cops."
But we said, "But it's not racism, guys."
Yeah, I don't believe
cops are human.
Are racist.
They're given to petty tyranny,
or a lot of them are.
Every human's going to be given over to that. It's going to have those temptations.
The more liberal the white guys I talked to were, the more they seemed to think that it was mainly because of racism. That cops are racist. They don't know any cops who are racist, but they believe that cops are racist. And
they probably don't know any cops because their lives have been insulated.
Right.
They haven't been around enough different kinds of people.
They've never been arrested. Yeah.
They've been in their protected safe space college classrooms constructed by their parents who paid various college admission boards to get them into school.
Yeah.
And from that vantage point, they can say, yeah, cops are racist.
Well, what else do we got here? Of course, we got the conspiracy theories. It's because Trump spreads conspiracy theories. I don't think they're just theories anymore.
I can't remember any conspiracy theories that he's spread.
Well, he said it was a rigged election.
Well, yeah, but that's not a conspiracy
and now
theory.
Look.
That's just a that's just a okay. This doesn't make sense. Is what that's
right.
Just looking at numbers and math and statistics and probability. There's no conspiracy theory there.
Right.
He said, "Hey, this doesn't make sense. Let's look closer." Oh, wow. Yeah, there's some problems. Let's look closer. Ooh, there's really some problems. That's all that is.
Okay, get this one. Authoritarianism. Now, this is how I don't even understand what that is, but authoritarianism refers to the advocacy or enforcement of strict obedience to authority at the expense of personal freedom and is commonly associated with a lack of concern for the opinions or needs of others.
Sounds like the left to me.
Yeah. I mean, that's the exact opposite of what they were talking about
which
before.
Side of the cultural war that we've been having has consistently, after failures to accomplish legislative victories, decided to take a path instead to our Supreme Court and get 9 people to issue a ruling that now had to determine how everybody else in the country lived.
Yeah.
Which group has done that? Not the conservatives. It's the liberals. It's not the Trump supporters.
The good old LGBTQRS crowd.
LGBTQPZ. I always add the PZ there because what's coming next is pedo and zuo. Those are going to be added to the LGBT.
Zuo as in bestiality?
Animals, that's right. That's coming.
Wow.
They're going to be added to the alphabet soup, and pedo is practically already there.
Yeah, I know it. You're seeing it more and more. Okay, I think I've addressed them all now. I've brought them all up, and a lot of them contradict each other. They're all stupid. None of them are right.
Stupid,
really. Yeah. In the sense that we would think. Some of them kind of border on it, but they don't understand why.
Right. That's the thing. It's like you have to first start with realizing that there are people who are patriotic, who love their country.
I think that's the
before
one
you
big
can get anywhere.
They don't
and
understand.
The left is completely missing that. They don't even get the concept of that.
Here's the thing:
the very idea of having a country to them, I think, is that's just an outmoded way of living. We have to get rid of anyway. I think that's where the left is coming from largely.
And every now and then they have to be reminded that they are American, and they have to pretend to be patriotic.
Right.
I'm talking about the politicians now, and it's
right. Yeah, the politicians.
It's almost comical to watch. Faking patriot. You cannot fake patriotism. Either you have it or you don't.
So badly.
It's so obvious that no one on the left does have it. Certainly not Joe Biden.
Yeah.
I don't think he even knows what country he's in.
I don't. Yeah, he's so out of it most of it. But aside from I got to say this. I'm going to say this on our podcast. You can cut it if you want. But aside from policies and stuff like that Biden as a politician, both senator and vice president and so on and so forth, I can't help but get this really deep, visceral ick feeling every time I look at Biden. It's worse than Bill Clinton. I mean, Bill Clinton, you looked at it and oh man, he is such a buffoon. How could we possibly have put him in the White House? He's an embarrassment. But with Biden, there's this really deep revulsion I feel when I see him. I don't know where it comes from. I believe that it has something to do with him.
Yeah. Here's the thing about Bill Clinton. He was, policy-wise, he was bad in every way we can think of.
Yeah.
I hate to say this, he did kind of have the American attitude, though.
Oh, right. We'll do it. We're going to figure it out.
Aspirin factories while he was getting a Lewinsky, and then covering that up with a bunch of other stuff. The I don't care, I'm doing what I want to do attitude.
Yeah.
That is kind of American. Now,
that's true.
He had it the wrong way, you know?
He was a bad American president.
Yeah.
Obama's going to be a Chinese puppet president.
Throughout our history, we have...
I mean, not Obama. Biden's going to be a Chinese puppet president. Yeah.
But throughout our history, we have bad Americans and good Americans who were very much like each other. Look, I can't think of his name.
I guess you could say
the
FDR
president
was
of the
like
Confederacy. Why can't I think of his name? Jefferson.
Jefferson Davis.
Jefferson Davis and Abraham Lincoln. They were both American. They were both, hey, we're going to win. And, but they were one guy was bad, you know? He believed we should own people.
Enslave, but
Bill
you're
Clinton
right. Yeah, they both
playboy.
Came from that kind of uniquely American ethic.
Yeah. But first of all, Obama fell short here because he bowed down to other countries, and that's really my biggest beef with him, is that he was a wimp. He would have people droned, and he would have his enemy, like sniped by drones. And he did send some people to war, but he would go in front of them and he would bow down to them. That made me sick.
Yeah.
And he wouldn't stand up to China, and I guess
at all.
I guess Bill Clinton didn't either, but it was for different reasons.
He didn't stand up to China, and he's the one that let ISIS grow into a real force. And you know what? Under Biden, ISIS is going to return.
Yeah, yeah. And all those terrorist attacks that happened in America during Obama's term, no, they didn't stop completely with Trump, but oh my gosh, they've slowed down so much. At the beginning of Trump's presidency, it was like every week there was a new shooting.
Mm-hmm.
I think I heard about one a couple weeks ago, but we hardly have them anymore. And now most of them are just against Christians. But during Obama's reign, most of them were just flat out Muslims.
Yeah.
But yeah, Biden is, you might compare them to like the good, the bad, and the ugly. And Bill Clinton was kind of like the ugly. He wasn't like real calculated. He was into his own pleasure, and that's it.
Yeah.
And so you would call that bad, but more than anything, it's just selfish.
Right.
And Obama was maybe a little bit more calculated, and he was more like the bad. But Biden he doesn't even fit in there.
It's just, I have a feeling that if people knew, I don't know, I got to think there is just something that really turns me off about Biden. Okay, I'm going to say that there was a priest when I moved into North Vernon, at the church. It was the main church in North Vernon, St. Mary's. They had two kind of like satellite churches. They were all three churches were always kind of served by the same priest, but there's St. Mary's, and then in one direction there was St. Joseph, which is where we usually went, and the other direction was St. Anne's. But St. Mary's Church had this priest who was the pastor there. Every time I went to Mass there, I had to go to Mass sometimes, and sometimes that was the only one I could get to, but every time I went to Mass there, I felt like I needed to get a shower afterwards.
Really?
Now, we move out of North Vernon up into Noblesville, then Shelbyville. Fast forward some years, and I don't know whether it was while I was in Westchester or after that when I was in Michigan, but I, saw a online Catholic news report about that priest being a guy who was diddling young girls.
One of those.
Can I say that on our podcast?
Yeah.
molesting young girls. He was that. I get that feeling when I look at Biden that I got when I looked at that priest, except it's like 100-fold.
Right.
Now, I don't know how I knew that priest was a creep. I have no idea. It was just something that, yeah, boy, he's icky. I don't know why I know that, but I know that he's icky. 100-fold for Biden.
Yeah.
Now, I was right about
all the videos
priest.
of him sniffing everyone's hair and...
yeah, I forgot about that while we were talking.
Just a big old weirdo.
Yeah.
We just got to keep praying for this. And let's hope that Trump never backs down. I mean...
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I think he would be a fool to leave the White House no matter what. Because they're going to come after him. They are not going to let him live his life out in peace.
Well, that's true, because he gets out of the White House... and they're gonna concoct some
yeah. There's people already planning.
They're gonna come with trumped up charges.
Yeah, they're gonna trump up charges against him, and yeah.
Ironic that's the word for that.
But no, he might have a trump card.
With everything that he knows now, it could be. I certainly hope.
Right now, he's got a trump card because he's president.
Yeah. But yeah, let's hope that either something happens to really unmask everything so that he can stay in the White House, or that somehow he has a like you say, a trump card that will keep him alive and free.
Right. After all he's done for us so far, even if he ends up being thrown out of the White House. After all he's done for us so far, we owe him so much thanks just for his service in the past 4 years.
So much gratitude. Mm-hmm.
He did more than I think any other president has done since Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah. It's unfortunate.
It's so bad that this is happening.
It's unfortunate Biden will undo it all within the first year.
Yeah, but he did a lot. They could undo it all, but he did a lot. And he, on top of all the stuff that he did to hold back the left, he took our country to a place we never thought it could go again.
Yeah.
In manufacturing and in everything. We were exporting energy. We thought we had to get all of our oil from Saudi Arabia. We thought we had to go fight wars in the desert in order to have oil and gasoline.
Be able to, have affordable oil. That's right.
Now we're exporting energy. So, we owe him a lot of thanks. All right.
Well,
we ready for current events?
Let's talk about current events.
All right. There's something we didn't talk about. The Vatican nativity scene. Have you actually seen the nativity scene, the Vatican's nativity scene?
I don't even know how to express how bad it is.
Yeah.
It is so ugly and so... It reminds me of... We a few podcasts ago, I sent you those pictures of those statue restorations.
Yeah.
It's like that.
That looked childish bad. This looks bad in another way, though. And it's like podcasters
deliberately ugly or something like that. I don't know. It is really, really bad.
It is demonic, and I think it's just I don't know what to say about it after that. And they played music when they unveiled it, and the music was bad too.
Oh, really? I didn't hear the music. I didn't watch the unveiling or anything like that.
We were driving to Mass when. And I was playing Taylor Marshall, and he talked about it when they first unveiled it, and so we went to a YouTube video at the unveiling and listened to the music and looked at the video footage, and it was the music was bad too. It was the whole thing.
I don't know. Could you call it a fitting close to 2020?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like the cap of all of 2020 ugliness and badness.
Right. Problem is, we still have Pope Francis.
I know. Gosh, and they had I mean, I understand that the Vatican nativity scenes have traditionally, from time to time featured images of modern workers and, certain kinds of professions and that kind of stuff. That doesn't bother me that they would do that, but they've got this, one of them is an astronaut, which is, the construction is bad, but it looks like there's an astronaut and then behind him is some kind of like, I don't know, Chinese Imperial Guard warrior kind of thing.
Yeah.
I don't know
nobody
what that's
gets
about.
it. Nobody can really tell what's supposed to be
that
what.
is. Yeah, and I guess the astronaut is supposed to be giving the moon to Jesus or something like that, as though it's not already his.
It's so there's nothing good you can say
bad.
about it.
And I guess did you see the nighttime picture of it?
That's
and
what
in the
I
middle,
saw.
Okay, so there's that big red blotch in the middle that looks like some kind of alien egg or something like that. I guess that's where they put the child Jesus once Christmas arrived.
Yeah.
But it looked like some kind of weird alien egg. It was grotesque.
Freaky.
Yeah.
Huh. So, in California, in LA, a 37-year-old man killed an 82-year-old man in the hospital room for praying. He was praying, and I guess the guy took offense to that and killed him. And these were both COVID-19 patients, and the guy's being charged with murder. So I think he is being charged with a hate crime. I don't know what that means. I mean, when you kill someone, you kill them. You should be charged with murder, and that's pretty much it. But at least they're being consistent about what a hate crime is. Okay, there's a statue of Breonna Taylor in Oakland, California. Now, she was killed in Louisville, but there's a statue of her in Oakland, California, and somebody stole and smashed the statue. Now, whenever you read about it, they're talking about it as an act of racism. But I haven't seen any evidence that it is an act of racism. I mean, she's being hailed as a hero for Black Lives Matter. And Black Lives Matters and Antifa, they're smashing all kinds of statues. They're tearing them down and defiling everything. So the fact that this woman's statue, who I don't know why you would have a statue of her anyway. I mean, she didn't do anything heroic or anything, but it was stolen and smashed, and that's being talked about as an act of racism. Also the two cops who were involved in her death have been fired.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, it's possible that there's some group of local neo-Nazis or something who decided to do that, but
I think it's more likely a group of people saying, you guys are smashing all our statues, you're tearing everything down, now we're going to get one of yours. The same way, look, they're painting Black Lives Matter.
But normal people like us, we don't do that.
You know
what
don't.
I mean?
You're right. Okay. But here's the thing. If you go, there are streets with Black Lives Matter painted on them. And I saw the video. This old black woman with a bucket of paint walking down the street, smearing the paint all over and hating on Black Lives Matter.
Uh-huh.
So it's not a racist thing.
Because she doesn't like being associated with communism and violence.
And I saw the black guy approaching all the barriers at, is it Chaz or Chad now? I don't know. Mm-hmm. But tearing all the barriers down. And, these people aren't racist. What makes you think the person who destroyed that statue is racist?
Yeah. But the thing is, that she didn't do anything particular, but she also didn't do anything wrong. And so that's what makes me think that it might just be, some kind of real neo-Nazi local group or something like that. It's not like she represents like Black Lives Matter's out there doing things that are wrong.
Yeah.
And it's clear why people would want to express their displeasure with that.
Yeah. Okay, I can see that. All right. So the Solar Orbiter made its closest approach to Venus, and that sounds kind of neat, but all of the instruments are pointed at the sun, so it got 47,000 miles above the planet's cloud tops, which is as close as it's not as close as we've ever gotten anything, because we've sent satellites into Venus, haven't we?
I don't
transmitting
know if we have or
information the entire time. I thought we did.
I don't know. Did we?
Okay. Well, anyway, it made its closest, because it's doing some loops around some of these planets to get itself closer to the sun. I wouldn't think that would be necessary.
But it's really a solar instrument. I mean, it's trying to give us information about the sun. That's its purpose.
Right. That's where we're headed, and that's where all the instruments were pointed as it got close to Venus.
So is this one of those? Is the purpose of this one going to be to orbit the sun a few times at a close orbit, and then eventually decay into the sun and just keep transmitting as long as it can, or something like that?
You know what? I'm not sure. I didn't look up that part. They're doing loops around Venus, and normally they do these loops to pick up speed so that they could get faster and get out to their target sooner. But it just occurred to me, they may need to pick up speed in order to maintain an orbit around the sun when it's that close to the sun.
Because as you get closer, your orbital speed has to increase.
Right. Huh.
That could be.
Okay. Well,
so
anyway.
it steals a little bit of momentum from the planet.
Yeah. So we didn't get any pictures of Venus, but oh well. So we've got the United States. I don't know. They passed the bill for the $600 COVID relief funds.
Yeah.
People got that.
They were talking about doing $2,000 as a follow-up.
Yeah, they're still talking about that. I don't know if it's going to happen or not. It would fix everything if they just opened things up again. But
yeah, people, nobody need. I mean, okay, I'm not going to say nobody needs, but as a general population, we don't need $600. We don't need $2,000. We need to return to work. That's what we need.
That's the big thing.
That will fix it.
So Russia has just finished a natural gas pipeline into Germany.
Okay. Are they going to trade gas with Germany?
Why is Germany buying gas from anything from
Russia?
Germany, from Russia. That's
because they're selling it cheap.
Know. Yeah, Trump said something about that a while ago, and I thought maybe they had backed off, but I guess not.
Oh,
this is something that people ought to just keep in mind. A court in China sentences a citizen journalist to 4 years in prison for picking quarrels and provoking trouble while reporting during the COVID-19 pandemic.
I think maybe they were asking questions.
Yeah,
that's causing trouble in China. That's China's word for asking questions.
Yeah, these liberals in America who are not of the ruling class, the ones who are just sheep, really need to take a better look at this. We're headed to some serious trouble if we don't put a stop to it.
If China is arresting a journalist, it's probably because that journalist is doing something heroic and praiseworthy. Yeah.
I guess it was only a little bit heroic because he only got 4 years and he's not dead.
Oh, so he's only,
But heroic is heroic.
Mm-hmm.
Say a prayer to St. Thomas Becket for him.
That's right.
So the U.S., we mentioned last week that the National Defense Authorization Act for 2021, Trump vetoed it and they overrode his veto, 322 to 87. That's just in the House. Does that have to happen in the Senate as well?
I think so.
Okay. Well, they did it, and it's so bad because look, these companies like Twitter and YouTube, you cannot call them platforms anymore. They are telling people what they're allowed to publish and what they're not allowed to publish. They are they are censoring and editing information. That means they're not a platform anymore. They are publishers.
They shouldn't be allowed to hide behind that. Right.
And they should not be above the law. Mm-hmm. But they are.
So they should be open to lawsuits for defamation and everything else that standard newspapers would be open for lawsuits regarding.
Right.
If they're going to do that. If they don't want to be open to those suits, they need to go back to being neutral, content neutral. I mean, okay, they ought to be able to censor, and they ought to censor things based on, public decency. They shouldn't allow porn, stuff like that. But
and maybe to a certain degree, hate speech. I mean, nobody wants to go on YouTube and read the N-word, but
but you don't have to. You don't have to click it. That's the thing.
Yeah, you don't have to read the comments.
Watch anything.
Right.
I'm thinking more. The public decency stuff would be for protecting kids.
Yeah.
But these days nobody worries about protecting kids from bad words.
Yeah. Okay, that's all I got.
All right, I got a few things. All of mine this time are from the latest issue of the New Oxford Review. So this is kind of.
I have to step away from.
This is kind of interesting. So a woman in California, I don't know if she's the only one or setting some kind of record or something like this, but while she was not only pregnant, but let's see, she was like very close. 1 week before her due date, she ran a mile in 5 minutes, 25 seconds. Now, I'm thinking of that from the baby's point of view. I mean, it could be, that it's very gentle and because the amniotic fluid and that kind of stuff. But at that close to birth, the baby has taken up most of the space in the womb here. And so I'm thinking if she's running, okay, I'll wait till you get back and can comment. All right. You'll have to cut a little bit out to get yourself in cleanly here. So this is McKenna Mylan, 28
I know
years
what was
old.
going on there.
Her husband bet her she couldn't do it. That's what was going on.
No.
Okay.
Shut the door. This is her wanting to induce labor because she's tired of carrying around this kid.
She says this kid's I'm gonna get him to drop out of me.
Yeah, this baby's coming out now. I will run until it comes out.
Until he falls out.
It's really not all that impressive.
Well,
I have seen pregnant women do some amazing things. I have been punched by a pregnant person. They have the strength of men at that stage.
Yeah. That's true. It's something I don't know about the pregnancy hormone that acts like a adrenaline or something.
Almost, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the that last week they're like the female Hulk.
That's right.
They gotta be, I guess, to do that. I can't even think about that without getting woozy. But okay.
Next, so a woman, Judy Kashner's death in 2019 came as quite a shock, especially to Judy Kashner.
Oh,
a woman,
okay.
Her name, Judy Kashner. Yeah, her death came as a shock to her. She got a letter from her bank. We're sorry for your loss and understand this is a difficult time for you.
A bank sent a letter to a dead.
Hey, we're sorry you're dead.
Customer.
Actually, it was addressed to her estate. It said the credit card payments that it received would be applied to transactions made after her death. If this was not your intent, please call us.
You know, what's his name? Abe Vigoda? Do you know who I'm talking about?
No.
I think that's his name. He played... I can't think of his name. Fish. He played Fish in Barney Miller, and he played Tessio.
Mm-hmm. I know who you mean. Yeah.
The Godfather.
The Godfather, right, yeah. Mm-hmm.
After he did a sitcom for a little while, and then he just kind of disappeared. And then somebody rumored that he was dead, and then he came on one of those late night shows, and he said reports of Abe Vigoda's death were premature.
Been greatly exaggerated. Well, this woman, she was trying to refinance her home, but because she was considered dead, they couldn't count her income. She had to go in and sign a declaration of life.
There's got to be some kind of tax break that she can get.
I don't
out
know.
of this.
That's right. If I'm dead, I shouldn't have to pay as much taxes or something, right?
Right. Yeah, and my husband gets the estate now tax-free, or, well, nowadays they come after you for that, too.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, so the next two, they're kind of related because it's kind of like, oh my gosh, why do countries' legislative bodies bother with this? You know, don't they have something else to worry about? First, in Ireland, it turns out that Subway restaurants are actually candy stores.
Oh my gosh, you're stealing.
Huh?
I did that one.
You did that one?
Yeah, like 3 or 4 months ago.
Okay, because of why?
Well, you know what? Do it again. Because it's candy. So they're going to tax it like they won't tax bread, they'll tax candy.
Okay, that was it. You did that one. Okay, well that was it then. So, yeah, so because they're not allowed to call it bread, it's a confectionery. Well,
yeah.
At the same time, I've got here in Europe, the European Parliament recently voted on whether or not a veggie burger is allowed to be called a burger.
Oh my gosh.
Exactly. I mean, okay, they actually ruled that it could be, even though they're still withholding permission for alternative other things like almond milk can't just call itself milk and stuff like that. But why are there laws about this stuff?
Why is that a discussion?
Exactly. Why?
Where is it?
So
Did you say
petty.
the European Union?
Yeah, the European Parliament, the EU Parliament.
And the leaders can't figure out why Brexit happened? Which still hasn't happened. It was just voted on. But
guys.
it was like, you people are
Brexit,
morons.
It's like, okay, England finally figured out that there are a bunch of morons over on the mainland. And they said, we're out of here, guys.
Yeah. Brexit was... I mean, we all know this. Brexit was England's Trump vote, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And it's happening all over the world. And let's just hope it doesn't die, because this is people fighting back against globalism. Oh,
and by the way, did you... No, we should have covered this earlier. Trump was in the latest Gallup poll. He's now replaced Obama as the most admired man in the world, or at least let's say
I
the
heard
U.S.
that.
or the world.
Yeah,
you heard that?
I have heard that. Yeah,
as most admired man. Ironically,
really
Michelle
surprising.
Obama is the most admired woman. I guess for putting up with Obama. I don't know.
I'm sorry. I think Melania Trump has twice as much class as
absolutely. She's
Michelle Obama did.
Yeah. And I also saw that I forget where I saw it, but it was like I was watching this video of, and they were carrying around signs. Some of them were written in Japanese, but some of them were in English, so you could read them. And it was this big Trump March rally in Japan.
Yeah, they're happening all over the world. The world loves Trump, and the world is scared right now that we're not going to fight this out. The world understands what's going to happen to the world if we lose this battle. I think the world understands it better than Americans do.
You know, that's probably true. That's probably true.
Because
America has been sheltered from a lot of the really bad stuff that can happen under a bad regime.
Right.
It's always been over there that we send our boys to help with the trouble and so forth. And so we don't know how bad it can get.
Vicky spends a lot of time on places like Reddit, where she talks with people from all these different countries, and that's a lot of them are saying that it's just this is going to be terrible if America doesn't win.
So
Meaning
they're
if
looking
Trump
at-
doesn't win.
Right. All right, last one. In the at a British wildlife park, they had to go and separate 5 parrots that were brought in because they were all swearing at people who were walking by.
Really? Is that true?
The park's chief executive, Steve Nichols, said, "I get called a fat twat every time I walk past." Since that's a British word, maybe we can say that. I don't know.
Yeah, that's fine.
He said lots of them are saying "f off," and
Somebody
but
had
he
to
said
teach them.
they'll say any foul thing you can think of. They're just disgusting. So they have to. I guess what they do is they separate them, and after a while they lose their memory of the words that they know. But as long as those are together, they keep reinforcing each other.
Okay. Like maybe one parrot taught the rest of them all the dirty words.
I think something like that. Because, I mean, and they said they deal with it, a couple times a year. Maybe they'll get a parrot in, and people always, curse around parrots in their homes. And so the parrots pick up the words.
Well,
they
people
just
think
isolate
it's funny to teach the bird bad words.
the bad words. Is
you have
yeah,
a
it's kind
talking bird.
kind of a juvenile humor, I suppose.
Yeah.
But they just isolate them for a little while and things are okay. But they said that they've been coming a little bit faster. I guess COVID has something to do with people, I don't know, not feeling like they can take care of a bird or something. I don't know what it is.
Okay.
But they've gotten a whole bunch of them at once. So it was becoming
And
quite
they
a
get
problem.
together and have a cuss fest. I think, parrots, they live as long as people, don't they? So
Oh, do they really? Parrots?
almost, I think. So if you
Wow.
get one when you're 40, you're going to die before the parrot does.
You'll have to, pass him to somebody, or either that or he goes into a reserve like this. Okay.
And if nobody can take care of it, it's okay, we got to do something with it. It'd be a shame to just kill it, so it probably goes to a zoo.
So that common, pirate trope of a bird on his shoulder that's a lifelong companion, that's probably more real than anybody realizes.
Yeah. Man, I was at Wendy's once, and there was a guy in the drive-thru with his arm sticking out the window the way you would when you're sitting at a drive-thru, and there was a giant parrot on his arm. I had no idea
Wow.
parrots were this big. This thing,
Oh, they can get really big, yeah.
without the tail, seemed like it looked like an eagle. It looked like a colorful eagle, but he didn't have it tied down or anything. It was just sitting there on his arm, and then he was showing off, But it was pretty neat.
I think they can clip certain feathers that make it difficult for them to fly.
Yeah.
So they can't fully fly away. Of course, now you say, well, he looked as big as an eagle. You probably then are, need to see an eagle and see how big they really are.
Yeah, I know. I've never been up close to an eagle.
I remember a couple times going to the zoo and they talked about the eagle that they have there, the bald eagle, and the eagle was nesting and stuff like that. And
I
could
saw
never
it,
catch
but
a
it was
glimpse.
far away.
Oh, I never even caught a glimpse. So I have no
I saw
idea.
the golden eagle. They had one.
Oh, okay.
I've only seen a bald eagle twice. Both times were in the wild, and they were flying. So
Was it at the gorge?
No, one was. We have a fishing spot kind of close to camp. It's actually in Shawnee Park,
Okay. Mhm.
but it's on the Whitewater / Miami River right after they join up. And we were fishing, and we saw it fly over the river. It was
okay.
really high up. And then one time I was on my way back from Canton, Ohio, and it's weird how when you see them flying, you know that it's a bald eagle. You're not mistaken. You might see birds and think, maybe that's a bald eagle. But when you actually see one, oh my gosh, it's a bald eagle. And it's
So it's
exciting.
like it matches the caricature that
Right.
you see in like American emblems and stuff like that.
Yeah. I'm so glad we didn't choose the turkey to be our national bird. I think that was
Ben Franklin had a
who
lot of
wanted
things
that.
right, but that wasn't one of them.
Yeah. But the eagle, it is such a majestic bird. It is, and that's me seeing it fly overhead of me, and I'm on the highway, and I get excited, and I pull over to try to get a better view, maybe get a picture, but by then it was gone. But I was really excited to see one, too.
So I've never seen one in person.
I've seen, there's a nest of them around the Whitewater River. And for a while, some lady had a cam trained on them.
So
they had eaglets.
Typed this into Google. Bald eagle can have a wingspan up to 7.5 feet.
Damn, that's big.
That's taller than Dad.
Yeah, that's a big bird.
Yeah. So.
Okay, is that all we got then?
That's all I've got.
All right. Well, folks, think about what we said, and hey, if anything else in your prayers this week, aside from praying for the country, which we're all doing, say a prayer of thanks for the work Donald Trump has done.
Yeah. Okay. We may be losing Trump now. Be grateful for the last 4 years.
Yeah.
Even if all it did is wake enough of us up that when it comes time to roll up our sleeves and dig in and go to work to try to save the country. If it comes to that, be grateful.
At least we know we're not alone now.
Yeah.
We saw each other in these giant Trump rallies, and we know that there are other patriotic people out there who love America and who want to try to
walking
preserve
around
her.
thinking, am I the only person in the country who's left who's not a complete idiot anymore? There's lots of us out there now. And we know that.
So thank God for Trump. But as always,
circle the beads.
Circle the beads. And, we'll see you next week.
Bye, everyone.